Captain Zara Voss had seen enough dead space to know when something was wrong. The crimson nebula stretched before her like a wound in the stars, its red gases swirling in patterns that had remained unchanged for 4 centuries. No ships traveled. Here, no signals originated from within its depths. It was a graveyard of cosmic dust and broken dreams, avoided by every civilized species in the galaxy. So when her ship's communications array started screaming about an active transmission from the nebula's heart, Zara's first instinct was to check for system malfunctions. Her salvage vessel, the Wanderer, was old and temperamental, prone to ghost readings and phantom signals. But the readouts were clear, insistent, and impossible. "Arya, run a full diagnostic on the comm system," she ordered, her fingers dancing across the control panel with practiced efficiency. Her ship's AI, a modified exploration unit she'd purchased from a bankrupt survey company, responded immediately. "Diagnostic complete, Captain. All systems functioning within normal parameters. The signal is genuine and originates from coordinates 247.6 by 88.3, approximately 12,000 kilometers into the nebula's core." Zara leaned back in her captain's chair, studying the data streaming across her screens. The signal was weak but structured, repeating in regular intervals. Most disturbing of all, it matched archival patterns she recognized from her days working salvage in the Outer Rim territories. Human encryption protocols, the kind that hadn't been used in 400 years. "That's impossible," she muttered, pulling up historical records on her secondary display. Humans vanished during the Great Exodus. Their sun was dying, their home world was evacuating, and then they just disappeared into deep space. No one's heard from them since. The transmission continued its steady pulse, like a heartbeat in the void. Zara had built her reputation on finding valuable salvage, where others saw only empty space. She'd pulled fortunes from asteroid fields, recovered lost technology from derelict stations, and once found an entire Vorthok treasure ship drifting in the shadow of a gas giant. But this felt different. This felt dangerous. Her logical mind told her to report the signal to the Galactic Survey Authority and let them handle it. The regulations were clear about potential first contact situations, especially involving extinct species. But Zara had never been one to follow regulations when credits were involved, and a genuine human artifact would be worth more than anything she'd ever salvaged. She made her decision. "Arya, plot a course into the nebula. Keep our shields at maximum, and prepare the emergency jump sequence. If something goes wrong, I want us out of here immediately. Captain, I must advise caution. The Crimson Nebula contains numerous navigational hazards, including unstable plasma fields and temporal distortions. The risk noted and ignored. Execute the course." The Wanderer turned toward the nebula, its engines humming with contained power as they penetrated the outer edge of the crimson clouds. Zara's instruments began registering the familiar interference patterns of ionized gas. The nebula was beautiful in its own deadly way, with streamers of red and gold plasma dancing around her. Ship-like living things, the signal grew stronger as they traveled deeper. After 3 hours of careful navigation, Arya announced they were approaching the source coordinates. What they found defied every assumption Zara had made about the transmission. Hanging motionless in a pocket of clear space, surrounded by the nebula's swirling gases, was a ship. Not just any ship, but a massive vessel unlike anything in the current galactic registry. Its hull was sleek and organic-looking, with curves that suggested growth rather than construction. Strange geometric patterns covered its surface, glowing faintly with internal light. It was easily 3 times the size of the Wanderer, designed for long-term travel and built to last. Arya, are you scanning this? Affirmative, Captain. The vessel appears to be of human origin, though its design doesn't match any known Terran ship class. Its hull composition includes several materials not found in standard construction databases. Most interesting, the ship appears to be in perfect condition despite its apparent age. Zara studied the alien yet familiar craft with growing excitement. If this was genuinely human, and if it contained intact technology or cultural artifacts, she could name her own price to museums and private collectors across the galaxy. But as she watched, something even more remarkable happened. The ship's hull began to glow brighter, and a new signal joined the original transmission. This one was directed specifically at the Wanderer, formatted in contemporary galactic standard protocols. Unknown vessel, this is the UES Eternal Dawn. Please identify yourself and state your intentions. Zara nearly fell out of her chair. The voice was human, speaking accented galactic standard with the careful pronunciation of someone using a learned language. After 4 centuries of silence, humanity was talking back. This is Captain Zara Voss of the salvage vessel Wanderer. I received your transmission and came to investigate. Are you requesting assistance? The pause that followed seemed to stretch forever. When the human voice returned, it carried a weight of emotion that made Zara's chest tight. Captain Voss, this is Dr. Marcus Chen, expedition leader of the Eternal Dawn. We have been traveling in stasis for 347 standard years, searching for a suitable world to establish a new human colony. Your arrival suggests we have entered inhabited space. Can you tell us the current galactic date and the status of interspecies relations? The magnitude of what she'd discovered hit Zara like a physical blow. These weren't refugees or the remnants of a failed civilization. This was a planned expedition, a carefully organized attempt to preserve humanity and find them a new home. They'd been traveling for over 3 centuries, while the galaxy assumed their species was extinct. Dr. Chen, the date is 2847 galactic. Standard. Humanity has been listed as missing and presumed extinct for approximately 400 years. The galaxy has changed significantly since your departure. Another long pause. When Dr. Chen spoke again, his voice was carefully controlled. Captain Voss, we need to discuss this situation in person. Would you be willing to board our ship? We have much to learn about the current state of galactic civilization, and I suspect you have questions about our mission. Zara looked at the massive human vessel floating before her, its hull glowing like a captured star. Every instinct told her she was walking into something bigger than a simple salvage operation. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about the return of an entire species that the galaxy had written off as lost. Arya, prepare the shuttle and send an encrypted message to my contact at the Survey Authority. Tell them I've found something they need to know about, but I want salvage rights confirmed before I provide details. Captain, are you certain this is advisable? We have no information about current human intentions or capabilities. After 4 centuries of isolation, their society may have evolved in unpredictable ways. Zara was already heading for the shuttle bay, her mind racing with possibilities and dangers. That's exactly why we need to find out. Besides, if they meant us harm, they wouldn't have waited 400 years to make their move. Asterisk, as her shuttle approached the Eternal Dawn, Zara could see details of the ship's construction that amazed her. The hull wasn't just decorated with glowing patterns. The patterns were actually part of the ship's structure, channels that carried energy and information throughout the vessel. This wasn't just advanced human technology, it was evolved human technology, developed during centuries of travel through the void. The Eternal Dawn opened a docking bay that seemed to have been grown rather than built, its walls forming a perfect seal around Zara's shuttle. As she stepped out onto the deck, the first thing that struck her was the air. It smelled like forests and rain, nothing like the recycled atmosphere of most ships. The second thing she noticed was the gravity. It felt natural, not generated by rotation or artificial fields. Dr. Marcus Chen was waiting for her, and he looked exactly like what she'd expected from a human and nothing like what she'd feared. He was tall and lean, with graying hair and eyes that held the depth of someone who'd seen wonders and sorrows beyond imagination. His clothes were simple but well made, and he carried himself with the quiet confidence of a natural leader. "Captain Voss," he said, extending his hand in the ancient human gesture of greeting. "Welcome aboard the Eternal Dawn. I cannot express how grateful we are to see another face, even if it isn't human. You represent our first contact with galactic civilization in nearly 4 centuries. Zara shook his hand, noting the strength in his grip and the sincerity in his expression. "Dr. Chen, I have to ask, what exactly have you been doing out here all this time?" The galaxy assumed humanity was extinct. Dr. Chen smiled, but there was sadness in it. "We've been surviving, Captain, and preparing. When Earth's sun began its final collapse, most of humanity accepted refugee status on various worlds throughout the galaxy. But a few of us believed we could do better. We believed humanity deserved its own future, not as scattered minorities in alien societies, but as a unified people with our own world to call home." He gestured for her to follow him deeper into the ship. As they walked, Zara could see other humans moving through the corridors. They were all awakening from stasis, she realized, blinking and stretching and looking around with the wonder of people seeing their ship's interior for the first time in centuries. "We gathered volunteers, scientists, artists, engineers, teachers, representatives of every aspect of human knowledge and culture. We loaded our ships with genetic samples, cultural archives, technological specifications, everything we thought we'd need to rebuild human civilization. Then we left, searching for worlds where humanity could not just survive, but thrive." They entered what appeared to be the ship's central command center, a vast space filled with displays showing star charts, planetary surveys, and biological data. Dozens of humans were working at various stations, their movements quick and purposeful despite having been in stasis for so long. "Ships?" Zara asked. "You mean there are others?" 17 expedition vessels left Earth during the evacuation, Dr. Chen replied. "We don't know how many survived the journey, but we've been mapping potential colony worlds for over 3 centuries. We've found dozens of suitable candidates, worlds where humans could build new societies without displacing existing civilizations." The implications hit Zara like a revelation. This wasn't just one lost ship, it was the advance scout of an entire colonial fleet. Humanity hadn't died out. They'd been quietly preparing to return as a major galactic power. "Dr. Chen, you need to understand something. The galaxy has changed dramatically since you left. New alliances, new technologies, new threats. Some species might not welcome humanity's return, especially if they see you as competition for resources or territory." Dr. Chen nodded gravely, We expected as much. That's why we've been so careful, why we've avoided contact until now. We needed to understand the current political situation before revealing ourselves. A new voice interrupted their conversation. Marcus, the awakening process is complete. All senior staff are conscious and ready for briefing. Zara turned to see a woman approaching them, tall and athletic, with short black hair and intelligent dark eyes. Like Dr. Chen, she carried herself with natural authority. Captain Voss, this is Dr. Sarah Brooks, our chief engineer and second in command. Sarah, Captain Voss is the salvage operator who found us. Dr. Brooks studied Zara with obvious curiosity. A Zenthari, unless I'm mistaken. We have extensive files on your species from before the Exodus. Your people were among the most skilled engineers in the galaxy, still are. Zara replied with a slight smile. Though I suspect your technology has advanced considerably beyond what we knew 400 years ago. In some ways, yes. Isolation forced us to become very creative with resource management and system efficiency. But we're probably behind. In areas like weapons, technology, and defensive systems, we've been focused on exploration and colonization, not warfare. Dr. Chen moved to a large display showing a three-dimensional map of local space. Captain Voss, we need your help. Not just with understanding current galactic politics, but with something more immediate. We've been monitoring communications since we arrived in this sector, and we've detected signs of military buildup near several of our target systems. The map highlighted a cluster of star systems about 50 light-years from their current position. Each one showed signs of recent colonization or resource extraction. These worlds were uninhabited when we catalogued them 2 centuries ago, Dr. Brooks explained. Now they're showing industrial signatures and defensive installations. Someone has claimed them. Zara studied the data with growing concern. The signatures looked familiar, and not in a good way. Those are hegemony installations. The Draconis hegemony has been expanding aggressively for the past 50 years, claiming empty systems and fortifying them against rivals. The hegemony, Dr. Chen asked. A military alliance of 3 reptilian species. They're technologically advanced and extremely territorial. If they've claimed those systems, they won't give them up without a fight. The command center fell silent. As the humans absorbed this information, their careful centuries of planning had run headlong into galactic realpolitik. Dr. Brooks spoke first. Marcus, we can't abandon those worlds. They're perfect for human settlement. Earth normal gravity, suitable atmosphere, abundant water. Finding alternatives would take decades. And we can't fight the hegemony, Dr. Chen replied. We're explorers, and colonists, not warriors. Zara found herself in the unusual position of being a mediator between humanity and the rest of the galaxy. There might be another way. The Galactic Council has procedures for resolving territorial disputes, especially when they involve previously unclaimed worlds. If you can prove your claim predates the hegemonies, you might be able to challenge their occupation legally. What would we need for such a challenge? Dr. Chen asked. Survey records, exploration logs, evidence that you identified and catalogued. These worlds before the hegemony found them. Do you have that kind of documentation? Dr. Brooks smiled for the first time since Zara had met her. Marcus, show her the archive. Dr. Chen led them to another section of the ship, this one filled with storage units and processing equipment. But as they walked deeper into the archive, Zara realized she was looking at something far more significant than a simple database. Captain Voss, What you're seeing is the complete cultural and scientific heritage of humanity. Every book, every song, every scientific discovery, every work of art created by our species before the Exodus. We've also documented every world we've surveyed, every resource we've catalogued, every potential colony site we've identified. The scale was overwhelming. Thousands of storage units, processing nodes, and display systems filled chambers that stretched beyond her ability to see. This wasn't just a library, it was the collective memory of an entire civilization. We have survey records for over 3,000 worlds, Dr. Brooks added, including detailed studies of the systems the hegemony has occupied. Our claim predates theirs by over 2 centuries. Zara felt a surge of excitement. This changed everything. With documentation like this, humanity wouldn't return to galactic civilization as refugees or junior partners. They would return as equals, with legitimate claims to some of the best real estate in the galaxy. But even as she thought it, she realized the danger. If word of this got out before humanity was ready, every major power in the galaxy would want either to claim the archive for themselves or destroy it to prevent human expansion. Dr. Chen, you're going to need protection. The moment the galaxy learns about your return, you'll become targets. The archive alone is worth more than most planets. Asterisk, we've considered that possibility, Dr. Chen replied, but we can't remain hidden forever. Eventually, we'll need to reveal ourselves and reclaim our place in galactic civilization. Alarms suddenly began sounding throughout the ship. Dr. Brooks immediately activated a wall display showing external sensor readings. Marcus, we have company. 3 ships, military configuration, approaching fast from the nebula's edge. Zara looked at the readings and felt her blood turn cold. Those are hegemony interceptors. Someone must have detected our communications. The closest interceptor was already broadcasting on military frequencies. The message was brief and threatening. Unknown vessels, you are in violation of hegemony territorial claims. Prepare to be boarded or face destruction. Dr. Chen turned to Zara with desperate urgency. Captain Voss, can your ship get past them? Not carrying passengers. The Wanderer is fast, but she's not a warship. Dr. Brooks was already moving toward what looked like a command station. Marcus, we still have the defensive systems from the journey. They're designed for asteroid impacts and radiation storms, but they might work against energy weapons. The Eternal Dawn began to move, its elegant hull cutting through the nebulas. Gases with surprising speed, but the hegemony ships were faster and already moving to intercept. Zara found herself faced with a choice that would define the rest of her life. She could escape in her shuttle, return to her normal life of salvage and profit, and pretend she'd never found humanity's secret. Or she could stay and fight alongside people who'd spent 4 centuries searching for a new home. She made her decision. Arya, slave your navigation system to the Eternal Dawn. We're staying with them. Captain, I must protest. Our chances of survival against 3 hegemony interceptors are less than 15%. Then we better make sure we're part of the lucky 15%. The first energy blasts lit up the nebula around them as the hegemony ships opened fire. The battle for humanity's future had begun. The first hegemony blast struck the Eternal Dawn's shields with the force of a small star going nova. The entire ship shuddered, but the ancient human vessel held together with a resilience that surprised even Zara. Emergency lighting bathed the command center in red shadows as Dr. Brooks worked frantically at her station. Shield integrity at 78%, she called out. her fingers dancing across controls that looked nothing like standard galactic technology. But we can't take many more hits like that. Dr. Chen moved to a central command console that seemed to respond to his touch before he even made contact. The ship's movements became more fluid, more organic, as if it were a living creature rather than a machine. Sarah, bring the navigation array online. Captain Voss, do you know these nebula passages well enough to guide us through them? Zara studied the tactical display, her mind racing through possibilities. The hegemony ships were faster in open space, but the Crimson Nebula was filled with plasma storms and gravitational anomalies that could work in their favor. I know a route through the core plasma streams. It's dangerous, but their sensors will have trouble tracking us through the interference. Another blast shook the ship, this one closer than the first. Through the viewports, Zara could see the sleek forms of the hegemony interceptors closing in, their hulls gleaming like black daggers against the nebula's red glow. All human ships were designed for deep space exploration, Dr. Brooks explained as she rerouted power to the engines. We built them to survive anything the universe could throw at us, but we never expected to face military weapons. The eternal dawn banked sharply into a dense plasma field, its hull glowing as it absorbed and redirected the energized particles. The hegemony ships followed, but their formations became ragged as the plasma interfered with their targeting systems. Zara pointed to a gap in the plasma streams ahead. That passage leads to a dead zone near the nebula's center. If we can reach it, we'll have time to plan our next move. Dr. Chen nodded and guided the ship through the gap with a skill that spoke of centuries of experience navigating dangerous space. The human vessel moved like it was born to fly through cosmic storms, its organic curves channeling the plasma flows around its hull. But as they emerged into the clear space beyond, Zara's heart sank. More ships were waiting for them, not hegemony vessels, but something far worse. The sleek, crystalline forms of void seekers hung motionless in the darkness, their weapon ports glowing with contained energy. What are those? Dr. Chen asked, his voice tight with tension. Void seekers. They're mercenaries, pirates, and worse. Someone hired them to make sure you never leave this nebula. The lead void seeker ship transmitted a message. Its artificial voice, cold and mechanical, human vessel. Surrender the archive and you will be permitted to depart with your lives. Resist and we will take it from your wreckage. Dr. Brooks looked up from her console with grim determination. Marcus, they know about the archive. This isn't random piracy. Someone specifically targeted us. The tactical situation was impossible. Hegemony interceptors behind them, void seekers ahead, and no way to fight their way through either force. But as Zara watched Dr. Chun's face, she saw something that surprised her. He wasn't afraid, he was angry. 400 years, he said quietly. 400 years of sacrifice, of planning, of hope. We won't let it end here. He touched a control panel that Zara hadn't noticed before, one marked with symbols that didn't match any galactic script she knew. The eternal dawn began to change. Hull panels shifted, revealing weapon systems that had been hidden beneath the ship's peaceful exterior. Energy conduits that she'd mistaken for decorative patterns suddenly blazed with power. Double quotes, Dr. Chen, what are you doing? What we should have done centuries ago, he replied, fighting back. The human ship's first shots came without warning. Energy. Beams that sliced through the lead void seeker like it was made of paper. The weapon technology was unlike anything Zara had ever seen, not the brutal force of hegemony plasma cannons or the surgical precision of Xanthari particle beams, but something that seemed to unravel matter at the molecular level. "How is this possible?" she breathed. Dr. Brooks was grinning now, her earlier concern replaced by fierce pride. "We had for centuries to think about survival, Captain. Every ship in our fleet carries defensive systems based on principles we discovered. During the journey, we just hoped we'd never have to use them." The Void Seekers recovered quickly from the shock of the first attack, spreading out in attack formations and returning fire with everything they had. But the Eternal Dawn moved through their energy blasts like they were gentle rain, its shields absorbing or deflecting every shot. Behind them, the hegemony interceptors had finally navigated the plasma fields and were closing fast. The human ship was caught between two forces, outnumbered and outgunned by any conventional measure. That was when Zara realized Dr. Chen wasn't trying to win the battle. He was buying time. "Arya," she called to her ship's AI through her implant, "are you monitoring these weapon signatures?" "Affirmative, Captain. The human ship's technology appears to be several centuries more advanced than current galactic standard. However, I'm detecting massive energy buildups throughout the nebula. I believe the humans are activating additional systems." Asterisk, as if summoned by her words, new contacts began appearing on the tactical display. Not ships, but something far more impressive. The nebula itself was coming alive. Hidden throughout the Crimson Nebula, disguised as natural formations and cosmic debris, were human installations, monitoring stations, communication relays, and defensive platforms that had been watching and waiting for centuries. As they powered up, their combined energy signature was strong enough to be felt across several star systems. "My God," Zara whispered. "How many ships did you send?" 17 expedition vessels, Dr. Chen replied as he coordinated the awakening of humanity's hidden infrastructure. "But we sent them to 17 different sectors. What you're seeing now are the automated systems we left behind to guard our path home." The Hegemony and Void Seeker ships suddenly found themselves facing not one human vessel, but a network of defensive positions that had been planning this moment for longer than most galactic civilizations had existed. Energy beams lanced out from hidden emplacements, not to destroy the attacking ships, but to disable them, to send a message. Humanity was back, and they were not defenseless refugees. The battle ended as quickly as it had begun. The surviving Hegemony ships retreated to the nebula's edge, their commanders no doubt reporting the impossible news to their superiors. The Void Seekers simply vanished, using their superior speed to escape before the human defenses could target them effectively. In the sudden quiet that followed, Dr. Chen turned to Zara with an expression that mixed relief with determination. "Captain Voss, we need to ask a favor of you. A very large favor. Name it. We need you to be our ambassador to the Galactic Council. You're the only person outside our expedition who knows the truth about humanity's survival. More importantly, you're the only one who can speak for us without the bias that our sudden return might create." Zara felt the weight of the request settling on her shoulders. "Dr. Chen, I'm a salvage operator, not a diplomat. I wouldn't know the first thing about presenting humanity's case to the Council." Dr. Brooks stepped forward, holding a small device that gleamed with the same organic technology as the ship's systems. "This contains complete documentation of our journey, our discoveries, and our legal claims to the worlds we've surveyed. More than that, it contains proof that humanity never abandoned galactic citizenship. We just extended it beyond any previous boundaries." The implications were staggering. If humanity could prove their claims to the worlds they'd discovered, They would return not as a minor species seeking refuge, but as a major power with legitimate territorial rights. The balance of galactic politics would shift overnight. There's something else, Dr. Chen continued. We're not the only expedition that survived. We've been in contact with 7 other human fleets, all of them carrying similar archives, all of them with claims to different sectors of the galaxy. Humanity's return won't be gradual. It will be sudden, comprehensive, and impossible to ignore. Zara looked at the data device in her hands, feeling like she was holding the future of galactic civilization. What about the other species? The ones who might see humanity's return as a threat to their own expansion. That's why we need you, Dr. Brooks replied. You understand both sides. You know how the galaxy works now, but you've also seen what we've accomplished during our exile. You can help bridge the gap between human ambition and galactic reality. The journey back to civilized space took 3 days, with the Eternal Dawn following Zara's ship through carefully chosen hyperspace routes that avoided major shipping lanes and military patrol zones. During those 3 days, Zara learned more about humanity's hidden centuries than she had thought possible. The 17 expedition fleets hadn't just been searching for habitable worlds. They had been conducting the largest scientific survey in galactic history, mapping everything from stellar phenomena to biological diversity to resource distribution across thousands of light-years of space. Their combined archives contained information that would revolutionize dozens of scientific fields. More importantly, they had been preparing. Every human ship was equipped with manufacturing systems that could build everything from simple tools to complete space stations using only raw materials. Their genetic archives didn't just contain human DNA, but samples from every Earth species that could be useful for terraforming and ecosystem development. We learned from history, Dr. Chen explained during one of their planning sessions. Humanity's greatest weakness was always our tendency to depend on others for our survival. This time, we made sure we could build our own future. When they finally reached the outer edge of Council space, Zara sent a carefully worded message to the Galactic Survey Authority, requesting an immediate meeting with the full Council on a matter of unprecedented importance to galactic security and stability. The response came back within hours, granting her an emergency session in just 2 days. But with the message came a warning. Several major powers, including the Draconis hegemony, had filed complaints about aggressive actions by unknown forces in the Crimson Nebula sector. They're already trying to control the narrative, Dr. Brooks observed, making us look like the aggressors. Then we better make sure our story gets told first, Zara replied. The Galactic Council chamber was a marvel of engineering and diplomacy. A vast spherical space where representatives from over 200 species could meet on equal terms. As Zara walked to the central speaking platform, she could feel thousands of alien eyes watching her with curiosity and suspicion. The council speaker, an ancient ethereal whose species had been mediating galactic disputes for millennia, floated down to meet her. Captain Voss, you have requested an emergency session on grounds of unprecedented importance. The Council recognizes your right to speak, but be aware that several members have raised concerns about recent incidents in the Crimson Nebula. Zara activated the human data device, and the chamber's display systems came alive with images of the Eternal Dawn, star charts showing human survey routes, and documentation that stretched back over 4 centuries. Honored Council members, I stand before you today not just as Captain Voss of the salvage vessel Wanderer, but as humanity's first ambassador to the galactic community in 400 years. Humanity is not extinct. They have not abandoned galactic civilization. They have been preparing to rejoin it. The chamber erupted in shocked voices, translation systems struggling to keep up with the dozens of languages being spoken simultaneously. The council speaker raised a tentacle for silence. Captain Voss, these are extraordinary claims. Can you provide evidence? I can do better than that, Zara replied. I can introduce you to them. The chamber's main viewing screen shifted to show the exterior of the space station. There, approaching with slow dignity, came the eternal dawn. Its graceful hull caught the light from the system's star, and its organic curves made it look less like a ship than a living creature returning home. Dr. Chen's voice filled the chamber as he transmitted directly to the Council's communication system. Honored representatives, I am Dr. Marcus Chen, speaking for humanity and our 17 expedition fleets. We return to galactic civilization not as refugees seeking shelter, but as explorers ready to share what we have learned. We come in peace, but we come as equals. The debate that followed lasted 18 hours. Some council members welcomed humanity's return, seeing it as a chance to gain access to their advanced technology and survey data. Others, particularly those aligned with the hegemony, argued that humanity had forfeited their right to galactic citizenship by abandoning it 4 centuries ago. But in the end, the evidence was overwhelming. Humanity's survey records established clear precedents for their territorial claims. Their technological achievements during their exile proved they were capable of independent civilization. Most importantly, their willingness to share their discoveries.